Hi, I'm Dan Wilcox. Welcome to show number 3. Um, I am an inspired painter by seeing Bob Ross as a kid on TV. Never took up painting then. I've been painting after taking a class from a Bob Ross certified instructor in July of 2020. It is right now May 20th of 22, and I am just absolutely in love with this kind of painting. So never really fancied myself an artist, but I still watch tons and tons and tons of Bob Ross videos on YouTube because all of his shows are on there. And I've taken a couple of classes from a master Bob Ross certified instructor, Nick Hankins, over at the New Smyrna Beach um, studio, and I just love it. So I am in no way uh, endorsed by, employed by, in business with, or otherwise, other than being a passionate student of Bob Ross Incorporated. I do use his products. It's really all I've learned to paint with. So this is going to be my take on season 4, episode 1. Bob called that one Purple Splendor, and that was recorded in 1985, I believe. Season 4, episode 1. You can certainly find it on YouTube, but it is a very limited palette. So we're just going to use white, blue. I did sneak in some midnight black. May or may not use that. That's some brown. I don't think I'm going to do a cabin. Bob did a cabin in his, but this canvas is my world. I think I'm going to put a mountain in this one, and then otherwise it'll be definitely inspired by Purple Splendor. And then we've got alizarin crimson, so we're going to make purple here, and then red to sign it. And had I been putting a cabin in, I was going to do a chimney, but I've changed my mind. So let's get started. We're going to make up a big old batch of purple. So let's get some crimson. I'm not sure why the camera's doing what it's doing, but it looks like it's just fighting me on the focus. Maybe I'm too close to it, but we'll get that worked out as we go forward. So if it's blurry right now, don't worry about that. I'm just making purple by putting alizarin crimson and phthalo blue together, picking it up, turning it over, and it's gonna, oh, that looks like a nice dark purple color that we're getting there. So come on there, camera, focus in on us here. What are we doing? There it goes. It likes that middle box. Okay, so like I said, we've got purple, pretty good batch of purple mixed up here in the middle. And I am going to just put a dot over here on the side so I can check it real quick because it's such a nice dark purple. It's kind of hard exactly to see where I've got it. So I'm just going to put a little dot right out there. Going to add just a smidge of white to it so we test it and see what we got. Excellent. So it's a nice dark purple, and we're pretty well going to do that for almost the whole canvas. We'll have some shadows in blue and such. But we're just going to take a 2-inch brush, put this into some of our dark color, tap it in the bristles real good so we've got an even filling of color on the bristles. And we're going to start up in the corner of the sky and get going. So let's see what happens and have some fun. Now this is a bigger canvas than I normally use. This is 2 feet by 4 feet, so 24 inches by 36. I'm normally on a 16 by 20 or 18 by 24, but I have some very, very good new friends in my world, and EJ's pushing me to do bigger canvases, and my buddy Steve is pushing me to do more shows. So guys, this is for you. Bigger canvas, doing the show. And Evan, thank you for bringing up that your sister really liked the purple one that you got the other day. So this is inspired by my friends EJ, Steve, and Evan. So let's have some fun. And if you've ever thought you wanted to paint, you can. This is a style I believe anybody can do because I can do it, and it's a lot of fun. Go find a certified instructor near you, take a class. Now you may not have a cool beanie like I've got. Those are easy to find on Amazon, and I wear them because my head gets cold. So let's just start off. We're going to do some crisscross strokes up here in the sky and just see how we like it. Now this is going to be a wintertime scene, and I live in Central Florida. Ocala to be more specific. So I need the inspiration for wintertime like Bob does on his shows. Now you can see where it gets a little streaky. That's just where I either let the liquid white I put on first get a little too dry, or maybe didn't have enough in the first place. So that's going to take a little bit more work than normal to get right. But if you watched how to apply liquid white, this is the canvas I recorded that one on. And again, it's one of those things that just keep practicing and keep getting better with. So it'll go on the way you want. Now, I'm not going to do a lot of clouds. Just like on the show Bob did, he really just goes by the sky once. So he was a masterfully gifted, incredible artist, and he can do that in one pass. I'm not quite that good yet. It takes me a couple passes on the sky. So I'm going to reload and start at this other corner, because it makes sense to me that you always want the darker part in the corner, so you kind of frame your own painting and help the viewer's eyes go toward the middle and keep them engaged in your work there. So we'll just keep doing these crisscross strokes. The whole point of the liquid white is so that the colors just blend together. You know, I'm having so much fun doing these videos in this style of painting because, man, when I was a kid, let's see, in 1985, I was 11 years old. I do not remember if I saw this episode as a kid, and like I said, I never fancied myself an artist, and never outside of school did painting that I really remember or even thought of. And I just like the way Bob talked. He's so positive, talking about, and if you've got a dream in your heart and just go practice it a little bit, you can do anything you want. Well, I believe that, and I hope that's the way you talk to people, and I hope you've got people in your life that talk to you that way, because that has not always been the case for me, but I certainly do now. My choices took me pretty far off the rails. If you know me, I spent about 30 years drinking way too much, and thankfully, this coming December will be 4 years since alcohol has been taken out of my life through no less than divine intervention. And if you need some help with that, reach out to me. I will be glad to share my experience with you. Don't call me for a sermon. Don't call me for a pity party. I will tell you the ugly truth. And that's in your best interest and mine. So that's enough of that. So, all right. I'm getting happier with where the sky's at. I'm still going to blend that out some before we get going on putting a mountain in here. Kind of just want to blend that some. But let's go in here now, and we're going to bring in some water, because this is going to be like winter. And we'll have some snow, so this dark color here at the bottom will help with wherever we decide to put that water, and then also just some shadows in the snow. So I'm going to come in here, same dark purple color, and just pull straight in from the sides. Straight in from the sides. We'll do this a couple times till we get it about how we like. We'll bring that sky down a little further too. So just pulling in from the outside. Pretty good pressure here just to get it going. You probably see some wiggle jiggle on the canvas there. And like I said, we're going to just pull in pretty straight. Let's do it from the other side, and then we'll go there. Now, boy, you can just see the way if that's coming through at all. That used to really upset me if I'd have revealed how poorly I did the liquid white or spots that I missed. I guess doing it poorly is up to each perception, but now I just really like what happens there, because it's not so blended, not so mixed. One thing I have heard Bob and Nick say dozens, if not hundreds of times, you don't make mistakes while painting. Just happy accidents. Learn to work with whatever happens on the canvas. Now, real lightly, let's go across the whole thing there. We're just dragging some color through the middle. We're going to keep some shine. That's where our light will be coming through, so that'll really turn out nicely here shortly. But you just learn to work with whatever happens. And you can just keep working on it. And look how pretty that color's turning there on this side. So it started out a little streaky, and you might have thought, oh, Dan, you've done it this time. You really just laid the egg, screwed the pooch, whatever saying means something to you like that. Well, you still may be right. That very well may be the case. But From where I'm standing, this is turning out all right so far. I'm digging what we got going. Plus, I mean, come on. If you've ever watched Bob Ross or this style of painting, I've watched a few other people do it. Playing the guy, well, his name, of course, just left my head of who taught Bob how to do this, but that guy, is he from Germany, I think, or from Prussia? Gosh, he had that great thick accent. Bill Alexander, that's it. Boy, any of those cats. If they don't like something, you just drop a tree over it. I mean, gracious sakes, trees can cover a multitude of happy accidents, mistakes, whatever you want to call them. See, I kind of doinked it there and got that straight line. Yeah, just keep going over it. No big deal. There's certainly nothing to get upset over. Not at this stage of our painting. We're way too early on. Which reminds me, I meant to do this. And how do I do that? Let's do that. And we're going to see. I'm doing my best to shorten these episodes, so if they're not so long, you don't have to have such a long time commitment. We're shooting for 30 minutes. Don't know that we'll make it that quick, but let's darken up our sky just a little bit. We're going to bring it down just a little further. Get it blended off where we want it to be. And keep on rolling. I'm ready to put it in a big old mountain. Doesn't that sound like fun? I hope it does to you, because it sure does to me. Plus, we'll leave this a little lighter here, because that's where our mountain's going to go. So, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to pick up a clean, dry brush and just blend this a little. Now I'm going to start in the lighter part in the sky. And blend the same way the paint went on. Go from lighter to darker in the sky. Otherwise, you'll be dragging darker down into your lighter part. If that's what you want to do, we'll do it that way, but just do it purposefully, whichever way you're going there. I'm just trying to knock out some of those sharper brush strokes. And like I said, we're not going to do any extra clouds in this one, because I want to spend some time popping that mountain in and then playing with the snow, because that's so much fun. So just kind of letting this be a winter sky. I don't know if you can see the easel leg, but I sure like that purple color. That's just, I like that. So let's just real gently go across, make sure those brush strokes are out. I'm going to blend that water just a bit and really get going. So again, lighter to darker here. Just 3 hairs and some air across the middle. Just barely touching, just barely smooching the canvas there. It may sound like I'm really zinging by it. That's just because my microphone is right here and the canvas is right in front of me. All right, I am pretty happy with what we got here. I'm digging what we got, so let's keep on moving just a couple more times and get those strokes out a little bit better there. We'll turn that into water or something else there. So now then, let's do this. I want to make just a little bit lighter version than what we just used. So I'm actually going to scrape up what we had on the palette, because it took some liquid white in there, which is just fine. I'm going to add a little titanium white just to give us a lighter value. I'm going to put this mountain way far back in the distance, so it just needs to be a lighter value of the same color that we're using. And man, that's a pretty color. So we're just going to use a fan brush and put the indication of this nice mountain way back there in the distance. So got a small pile of that mixed up. And let's grab a fan brush. We'll use a big one since we're on a big canvas, so that's just a number 6 fan brush. We're going to get that loaded up and just do a gentle, big old mountain back there in the distance. So where should it live? Where should it live? Let's have that mountain live about right here. So we've got a nice high mountain to see off in the distance. So it's going to come up here, and you'll always probably fall in love with one side of your fan brush over another. Don't really know why that is, but it just seems to be the case. So we're just going to let that kind of go off into nothing. Maybe that guy has a little a little bump that comes out and then goes down this way as well. So now we're going to get back over there and pull this side out. If we like it enough, we may not even do any highlights on that. So let's just kind of see how this works out. And we'll just kind of pull that down this way. And then we'll really come get it with the probably a 2-inch brush just to knock it down even a little further. But I just want this guy to drift off into not much there. So we're not going to do a whole lot with this mountain. Now, a lot of times we'll spend quite a bit of time putting snow on the mountain, highlight colors and that sort of thing. But this is going to drift off so far into the future, back to the future. How funny is that? Showing my age a little, I suppose. And we're just not going to have much more detail. So I kind of like what we got going on there. We're going to keep this fan brush set to the side because we'll be doing some trees and other dark stuff, and that'll be great. So while it is fun to clean the brushes, that is absolutely correct what Bob talks about. It takes a while. So let's just use the brush we blended the sky with, and I just want to just quiet this down a bit. So I'm going to get right up to the edge of the mountain and pull gently in the same direction we were doing. I'm going to do that same little kind of wiggle, and then just pull them off into nothing there in the background. Leave that edge kind of dark in a few places just so we can see it. It's so far away, we're just barely going to see any variation of color there. So now let's do the same coming this way. That further back edge, kind of just drifting off. This guy just needs to quiet down. It's a little rowdy back there in the background. There he goes. There you go, buddy. There's room for you too. There's a role for you to play too. Just figure out what it is and do the best you can at it. All right, so let's clean that up a bit. We're going to tap this out a little bit so we kind of get some mist here at the bottom. And just follow the angle. Follow the angle of your mountain. Don't just chop it off, or you won't be happy with that. And we're going to have some trees in front of this and some footy hills or some maybe some big trees up here in the front. So I'm really not too worried about what we're doing with this mountain. I just wanted the line of the mountain back there. So we already had that going. Okay, good. So now we'll just do the gentle lift up the slope of the mountain the way we just tapped the opposite way. And that's just going to help mist out the bottom of that mountain a little bit. Because the top will always be more clear to you, especially on a mountain that's far away like that. So, all right, I like what we got going there. And now then, we're going to take our fan brush. We're going to move that lighter version just off to the side. Don't know that we'll need it again, but we'll hang on to it just in case we do. Now I'm going to pull out our dark purple color that we started with, and that's where we're going to start adding some trees and some layers. Then we're going to add some snow. Man, it's going to be exciting. So put on your seatbelt. And here we go. So I'm just going to use that same old dirty purple brush, go into that darker purple that we've created. Load both sides pretty good. Don't have to go crazy. We're just going to pick where our thing that's going to be kind of closer on this side to help. We're just going to push that mountain back and come this way with it. So we're going to just do tapping straight down. I don't know if you can see that real well. This is a new setup on how we're doing the camera. So a little bit of a learning curve here for me. So thank you for your patience, but we're just going to touch and pull down. Touch and pull down. And as our paint mixes with the liquid white, that's perfect. So we're just going to let this fade off really into nothing back here and get a little smaller, smaller, smaller. Maybe it's kind of drifting down a little slope over here that we can't see and just going off into nothing. Yeah, like that. So we're going to flip over and use the other side, kind of do the same, similar idea. Going towards, see, I don't like that side of the fan brush. I like the other one. So we're going to load back up and get our preferred side of the fan brush going. and kind of just do the same thing towards our mountain over here. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's like a hill here. This little guy's going to come down. Do you see it? I see it right there. So this guy's coming this way, kind of getting a little further away, getting smaller, smaller, smaller. And then just do this a couple ways. Lifting straight up is good. I need a little more color there. Just on the corner. So it looks like the same thing we were working with right down this corner here. How do we do? How do you see that? Let's see. I'll check the camera, see how we're doing. Yeah, I like that. So now we can take our 2-inch brush, the relatively clean one, the one we did the blending over there with, and we're just going to tap out the bottom of this so we get that misty effect. So watch this. I don't know why I tell you first and don't just start doing it and talking about it, but we're just going to kind of, not doing this randomly, I'm just not doing it in a straight line. So while it may appear I'm bouncing back and forth, there is method to the madness. I do not want a straight line in our beautiful trees here. And as we pick up a little, we can even help that guy just sort of fade out, because as they get farther away, you're not going to see where they are. And just the same over here with those cats. So now, so we've tapped that in. We could keep doing this to any degree of mistiness we want. I'm actually going to do it one more time because it wasn't a completely clean brush, and I want it a little bit more misty than that. So just tapping, not really pulling straight down, but letting the bristles just bend down a little bit. And this stuff just a little higher in these guys. No wrong way to do it. So you do yours how it feels right and looks beautiful to you, and you will love it. Don't copy mine, don't copy Bob's, don't copy Nick's. They're a better example than I am for sure, but don't copy it, don't copy it. Just use this as an idea of how to do it. Now that we've got it misted, we're just going to lift straight up, and those are just fading way off into the distance. I'm barely touching, just like we did the blending. But if you're watching closely where I'm hitting it, man, it adds another cool little feature of little trees right there in the front. And with every time we hit these, they just fade a little further back in the background. So that's what I hope you're seeing, because man, it's so cool standing this close. And that's where I wanted those front ones to go, because they're really not in the front here. These guys are pretty far away. We're going to start putting some snow in there and see where we go. Now, let's grab another fan brush. I do have several going, so I don't have to clean them all the time. Like I said, I'm still working on speeding up a little painting so these episodes aren't quite so long. First one was an hour, second one was 35 minutes. It was a smaller canvas than this, but we're doing pretty good. So now I've just got this loaded up real good on both sides with straight white. Just going to put in some snow. So we're going to start way back here, and we're going to smooth this out. But the cool thing is, you can do this with any brush you wanted. You can do this with your palette knife, any of your brushes, and you're just deciding the lay of the land here. So pay attention with how your painting's turning out. Do you have a hill that comes over like that? That's fine. It's up to you. But just start paying attention to your lay of land so you can stay consistent with that. And I think you'll really be pleased with what happens up here in this tree line as you're adding color, adding some snow. Leave some areas in between them. That just helps you add depth. I like to go back and just knock off any purple any color I picked up from putting in the snow. Just keeps it a bright snow color, and it's totally cool that it's grabbing some of that color, because that helps with shadowing, it helps with depth. Isn't that amazing? And then you just come back and smooth it out to any degree of doneness that you want. One thing I really noticed the most recent time I watched Bob do this on that season 4, episode 1, and I'm going to do it since I just forgot to do it, is I'm going to come in and just grab a little bit of blue. So I'm going to grab a different fan brush. I just happen to have a little one. That's the one I grabbed. So I put a little white over here by itself and just add a little touch the Phthalo Blue to it, get it mixed up pretty good. Let's put a little more white on that. That's too much blue. This is just going to make a nice shadow color. Just a whisper of blue into that white. And watch this. So maybe under these big trees, it'd be a little bit darker. So you just put in a little blue, and then you let that blend in. And if I'd have done that first, we wouldn't have to go over it so many times. But man, that blue really adds something, I think. And just, of course, it does. Bob Ross, pretty smart fella. He pretty good at this painting for sure. Just love the way he talks. So soothing, so positive. You get tired of hearing me say that. Well, I hope you don't. If you watch these episodes this long, I imagine you feel the same way about him. So, just, boy, what a treasure. I'm not saying he was perfect. Nobody is. But man, just to be that positive and speak that kind of goodness into people's lives. Heck, he's been dead since 1995, I think it is. And I'm still standing here talking about him. So many people know exactly who he is and feel the same way. Isn't that cool? Wouldn't you love to have people talking about you that long after you kick the bucket? I sure would. So, man, I'm digging what we've got going on so far. So, now, let's do this. I'm going to put a couple of trees, big trees over here. I'm not going to block out our whole mountain, but I want to really push that side back, and that's what is making sense in my little brain. So let's stop trying to hold so many brushes. Go back to our big, dirty purple brush, and we are going to get loaded full of paint. So you can pull it through, give it a little wiggle, and then get it loaded full of paint. So it's kind of a nice, sharp, chiseled edge. Not hard to do with a fan brush. So first thing I want to do, I just want to put something here so it gets in front of that guy over there. So that's what we're going to do. So let's do a nice big old tree. We'll start him right here. So we're just going to touch, pull straight down. So that just gives us a good center line. Now I'm just going to use the corner. Push a little harder as we come down the tree. And these trees live in your brush. You just got to shake them out. Flip it over, use the other corner if you start running low on paint or your paint starts getting a little too light for you. Same color all the way down. Now I'm going to come down just far enough so that we get in front of this hill back here, and just adds a nice layer of depth to our painting there. So beautiful. Love those trees. Man, they're fun. Now that kind of tree, though, is going to need a friend. Everybody needs a friend. So let's give him a little friend over here. Just our center line is good. Touch, 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 touch. Push a little harder. Last time I was in class, Nick gave us such a great tip, such a simple idea too. Well, in that way, man, some of the best ideas, just simple suggestions. He pulls out this piece of cardboard and starts just in such a smooth, rhythmic way, putting in trees. And it was just like, oh man, that was just fantastic. So you can really do this on anything. You could practice on your palette if you want to. You can do that like he did on a piece of cardboard. So it's just brilliant. So now I'm just touching, putting in a few weeds. And this is going to be great because we're going to add some snow here. I'm going to let that pick up some of that color there, and you'll see what happens. It's going to help us add some shadows. And we're going to add a few more trees over here. Just again, kind of playing with the lay of the land, where we're going to go. And for the most part, my goal is here pulling just straight up, so it doesn't look like the wind's blowing 1,000 miles an hour here in our quiet, cold winter scene. So let's, one thing when I started doing trees, I noticed I was getting way too symmetrical. Like I'd have the exact same space between this tree and that, and something about it I just didn't like. So practice, practice, practice. Now I leave some space. Maybe we'll put a little bush in front of that. Oh, we're having so much fun doing this. Let's put another one. Now, every tree isn't going to grow straight up and down. Some trees are maybe Got a little too much eggnog, a little sideways, got a little too heavy with snow. Could be all kinds of things, but I don't know about you. I've been in the woods, and some trees are on the way out. Kind of just how it goes. All right, well, there's 30-minute timer, so I'm running late on this one. We're just going to keep rolling. So we're having fun. Don't have too much further to go for this one because Purple Splendor is pretty simple and painting that I love doing. So I'm hoping you're enjoying this. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to try and wrap it up in about, if you got an appointment, you may want to pause this. If you can hang with me, I'm going to try and wrap this up in the next 7 to 10. I think it's going to take. We just need a few more trees, going to do some snow. I really can't wait to put in a frozen pond here. This just feels like it needs it, doesn't it? It does to me anyway. All right, so you're getting the idea there. Let's add some more snow. So I'm just going to go back to our brush we were doing the straight titanium white with. Get a lot of paint on the brush, so this will go very nicely. And we're just going to come in here and let it pick up some purple and grab some of that in the back. That helps with our shadows and depth. Oh, do you see that? Did you just see that happen? I love it when it works just the way Bob told me it would, or Nick showed me it would, and it's every time. And I love it every time. Just do. Can't help it. When we get to the water, my goofy hands keep that straight and it turns out right. You'll hear me giggle like a whatever you think of when something's giggling, because that will be me. I just love it every single time. Putting in the snow, and see, we're just working on the lay of the land here too. See how that's working out there? And maybe this is just a hill that comes in here. Oh, I like what happened there. Did you see that grab that purple? So this is going to be, we'll just add some more snow up there. See, happy accent. Just let it happen. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. So now we've just got this big snowbank kind of coming in right over there. And we'll pop a tree on there. Don't worry about that if it doesn't look right to you. We'll get there. We'll get there. And we're going to come back to this side over here and probably add some of the same thing. So let's get that tree over there that we just talked about. Man, I love painting trees. These are so much fun. So to me, this hill is going to be closer. So we're going to make it bigger. I'm going to make it a little taller and just a little bigger overall. That's going to be my goal here. So we're just going to touch, 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 touch. I've heard Bob and Nick describe a person they had in class. I don't know if it was the same person, but she sounds like an awfully smart person and a very good description. So they either smart enough to listen to each other, or same lady, maybe they were friends, who knows. But these are like Z trees. So if you kind of see the pattern here, down the middle this way, down the middle this way, down the middle, and you just use more and more of the brush, and these things just happen. They just fall out of your brush. See, now that we brought him down here and that space, doesn't it look like he's in front of that one? Happy accidents, happy accidents, happy accidents. Now, what do we have? One. Let's do another big one. We'll do even a little fatter one. God knows I've had my days of being fatter. If you've known me for a long time, you know about that. Well, today I'm about 80, 85 pounds below my max weight. That had been as high as 100. I am far from perfect on my diet. Slack off time to time on exercise. My weight goes back up every now and then. Well, I am still so much happier being less of me. So I've been the fat tree, I've been the skinnier tree, and I'm just kind of happy being the me tree, which also has not been the case my entire life. So it is a much better way to be. Are you happy in your skin? All right, let's add some more snow. I'm gonna grab it and come down this way. And do not be shy grabbing some of that color, because that will naturally help you with shadows, with things that just look like they're growing that way, and you'll really like that. Boy, look at that snow just coming down that hill. Isn't that cool? not lived in the snow a whole lot. We lived in Virginia when I was mostly middle school. We got some snow there from time to time. I visited Dave in Colorado when he was in the Air Force out there. And fam, of course, Mickey and the kids, they were having a ball in Colorado. We just looked like, I felt like we needed a tree filling up this side, because trees aren't going to stop at the edge of my canvas just because I'm running out of space. So I think if we just kind of fill in a little bit more there, we'll be good. All right, now real quick, like I'm going to add some highlights to those. So don't want a lot. I do not want to take away from how cool this purple is. I'm just going to get a little liquid white so this paint is thinner, and I'm going into that same light blue color we used back here for the snow shadow. We'll actually bring some in here because I forgot it again. But just getting a little liquid white with that light blue, and we're going to add some snow to these guys. So pick whichever one's furthest away and start with that one. And just a touch, just a whisper. All we're looking to do is highlight this. Don't kill your dark. And as you get down here to the bottom, less and less and less and less, and then none. Knock off any dark you picked up, pick up a little more light, move over to the next one. Next closest one is, let's say this one. I like to vary it. Sometimes I go straight in a line, sometimes I don't. But just touch, 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 touch. Just the whisper, just to break up a little bit of that dark, but do not kill it. Dark is your friend. A little more light, a little more blue. Straight white is too much of a kind of aggressive thing, I think. So let's just keep that blue going. And again, we just want to touch, touch, touch. Just the indication, just to set it off a little bit. That's all we're looking for here. I hope that's coming through on the camera. I'm going to put a photograph because I didn't do that on the first couple episodes, so sorry about that. I'm going to see about editing in just a still picture, probably on my phone. I don't know how else to do it these days, of those finished paintings, so you can see how they turned out, because that is a little bit challenging on the video. So here in the middle, they're not going to have nearly as much. If this is light or snow, just get a little bit in there. Vary it just a little. There, I'll put a little on these side, and these guys are done. Ooh, that's dark. Got to wipe off the dark before going back in for more. I hope you find hope in watching me struggle in my love of this painting. There should be hope for everybody, because I'm an old dog and I have learned some new tricks, and I just love it. So touch, 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 gentle touch. Touch more liquid white. There we go. There's that light blue. Wow, that's pretty color. Like that. That's a little too symmetrical here at the top. Let's kind of bust him up a little bit. There we go. Maybe he's got a nest for an eagle or something. If this is Alaska, like where Bob lived for so long, and he loved to paint these winter scenes from there. I have visited Alaska. I got to go fishing there. Good golly, that was 1991 probably. Had to go fishing for 2 weeks up there. Gosh, that's beautiful country. Saw snow on tops of the mountains, but certainly not snow like this. So this is how it looks in my head. If this isn't how it looks to you, that's okay. Paint it how you see it. Paint it how you see it, like Bob talks about. There's not a copy here. There's not a pattern to this. This is learn how to do this and get turned loose on the world, man. Go show them what you got. All right. Oh, there you go. I like that shadow kind of coming in there. That's cool, isn't it? A little more of that back here, and I think we'll be ready to move on to the other side, because to me, there would just be some blue kind of variation right through here if we were walking this away. Walk this way. The Run DMC. Normally I paint to music, so I'm sparing you the experience of hearing me sing. I did not get the gift of singing, but I love to do it. Okay, so now let's bring ourselves in another hill of some kind here, and some more trees, get some water in there, and then we'll be good. So let's do, what do you want to do? We could do trees or bushes with a bigger brush. Let's just keep using the fan brush. That works so well. We'll just do it more defined this time on the hill we're bringing forward. So watch this. Same idea. We're just going to let more detail happen and make them a little bigger. And then we'll put some mist at the bottom. But we just want to do something to bring in. I still don't like this backside of this fan brush. Do you see how it just does differently? But it's okay. I like the variation. And we're just going to kind of let that go off because we'll do something different over there anyway. So I try to avoid doing all the same heights, all the same shapes. Don't want a lot of space between them because you normally wouldn't see that in a forest. They're all going to be pretty tight out here. And let's get a little more detail. And who knows, maybe we'll even, let's do that. Let's be sneaky. We're going to sneak in and give ourselves a little evergreen tree right here in the middle. Just so you kind of go, wait a minute, is that what's happening there with all those trees? Yes, it is. Well, that's not very straight up, is it, Dan? Fix that. Fix it. I know. I'm telling you wrong right there, aren't I? No such thing as something to fix, just happy accident, something to work with. Sometimes I turn my hand the wrong way trying to adjust something there, so that's a learning process for me too. And we'll just put in a few kisses of, maybe there's some different shaped foliage. I don't know, who knows? Just trying to stay away from being symmetrical, that's the key for me. Okay, let's tap in some mist and see what our next play is going to be right up here at the front. Maybe we're going to add some more snow, a couple more big trees in front of this, and then we're going to get some water in here. Yes, indeed. Cool. I'm digging that. That looks pretty cool to me. All right, so I want to lighten this up a little bit, fuzz out some more of that. If there's not enough mist happening, you can add a bit of titanium white and just get it in there, and we'll come back and tap that in real good, but I don't want to drag too much color back through it. And that is going to just help mist that out. See it? Oh, it's like having the know who, not necessarily know how. That should make sense to you, I hope. All right. So let's do that. Put the brush on the ground, and let's do our lift up trick. Just so our mist is right. Sends these trees just back a little bit. Throw a couple trees in front of it. Do some water. Maybe take a sandwich break, lunch break or something. So this episode is running a little longer than I intended, so I appreciate you staying with me if you're still here. And let's see what happens here. Let's get some snow in there. I want to get some snow. Which way are we going to bring the snow? I think we'll bring the snow this way and kind of stay consistent and see how it does. I hope I didn't totally screw up our feeling of proper relationship to this hill. Who knows, maybe we'll put a tree right in front of that. I'm not too worried about it. We're just going to work with whatever happens. Let's go back there and get our snow a little higher. We're going to step back and take a look at this in just a second and see which parts we like and which parts we still want to do some work on. It's totally fine that it goes right off the page and doesn't get completely resolved in our field of vision, because it wouldn't all the time, would it? Just want to stay good on our lay of the land and what's happening. The only thing, I didn't want to put a tree right in the middle But I think I'm going to put one right here just to kind of help break up what I've done there. So we're going to do that, keep right on rolling. And yeah, well, not quite in the middle, so good. We're going to just put this right here. And again, more and more of the brush as we come down. There's your Z, reload, nice dark color. Back to the middle and across, wider, wider as we come down. Now, see what I told you before? A tree can cover a multitude of sins. How awesome is that? So, standing where I'm standing, you can't see which, how that gets there, and I like that. So that works for me. So now I don't want to get away with not doing too much water. So, or not doing any water. So let me just think for a second. I don't want to hurt myself with thinking. I did that once. Smoke blew out my ears. Whew. Be careful. Thinking too much can get you in trouble. Sometimes it's best to just listen to that gut and go. Your wings will pop out as you fall, and you won't crash into the ground. You may bump it, but you won't go straight in. Let's have a branch over this way. We didn't mean to leave him quite so one-sided tree. Cool, I like that one. All right, so yeah, let's just bring in some water. So to do that, that's going to be pretty easy. We're just going to go to our dark brush, pick up some dark, and decide where we want our water to be. What if we start all the way back here and bring it forward? Hey, Jesse, baby. So you just grab it, touch, and pull straight down. And now we're going to be coming forward, but my strokes still need to go straight down. We'll probably put some snow under these guys. So let's just bring our snow a little more dark. We'll just bring our snow, our water, right on out that edge. So never fret, we're not far off from just cleaning it up some more. And if we need to, we can always just pull some more dark right down under these trees. You're thinking, Dan, can't you see that tree? Oh yeah. Got it? We got it. And reflections do some crazy things from time to time, don't they? We're going to put some white on this because some of this is too dark for how I'd really like it to be, and that's all right. So see how it'll blend out where I've got the right amount of magic white? You just keep rubbing it a little bit. Pull down, pull down, pull down, pull down, pull down. And we're going to go across, and it's going to be beautiful. But first, we're going to just touch in a little bit of straight white because I think this would just be a little lighter over here. A little bit more. Just want to soften that up. That purple just feels a little harsh on the reflection to me. So we're just going to soften that a bit. Don't piddle with it too much though. I've piddled too much. Turn out not quite as happy with the result. And we're going to clean up that edge. Don't worry about that. So we pull down. Now we're going to go across. This is where you ought to see the reflection really jumping out at you. This is the magic. This is where I giggle every time. Look at that, right underneath that tree. Those trees. I just love that. All right, so let's get our white, and we are going to bring in some snow down this hill to right here, and let this kind of come down to the water's edge. Just bringing it forward. See how just putting a little snow really pulls these trees right in here. Let me put in some rocks there. Bob did that in his, so let's do that. I really like that idea. So let's just take another clean fan brush. We're just going to go into some brown. Do that with brown? I don't think he did. I think he did that with purple. So we're going to mix brown and purple. It's going to be a nice dark color either way. This would be a pretty good land color. Let's do that. See, happy accidents. So we're just going to, which way you want to go? Let's start bigger here. Kind of just fade off. We'll clean that up with a water line as we go, because really, to me, that's way further away back here. One of our sweet doggies has come in and joined me, and he is snoring right under the easel, so I hope you can hear him. It's very funny. Jesse snores a lot. We love those silly doggies, don't we? Let's have some land right here in front of us so our trees don't fall in the water. That's always a good idea. And we'll just put some rocks in over here after we highlight some of that. I'm having so much fun with that. Let's stop before we get too carried away. Okay, dark color again. Let's put in a couple of rocks here. Wherever your rocks want to live. Maybe you don't want rocks in your world. That's fine. You just need some paint. Just need some paint and kind of a wiggly shape. And I'm going to put some highlight on that so it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter at all. I did like how Bob's did this kind of a bolder thing, and then watch what's going to happen when we put some light on that, or some straight white. And so just come down your slope to the rock, and just really, doesn't that just really add something? And then you come along the edge so there's some more snow. Don't worry about grabbing some of it because you want the shadow. And don't be shy about the shadow. Don't forget we're going to clean up the water edge there. So we're just going to blend that out a little bit. Oh, I like that. And it does help to make the sound. So do make the sound. So you come down your slope, hit your rock edge, and just very gently, gently, gently. Gently, gently. Maybe right there. Oh yeah, I like what we got there. Sure do, sure do. If you don't like part of the edge, well, just rub some of it out. No problem. No problem. Just keep blending it till it looks sort of like what you got in your head. That's all you got to do. All right, and just one more rock there. We are rocking and rolling. Yes, this one took a little longer than most. It's a bigger canvas. I'm hoping you're enjoying this fun. I wouldn't think you'd be this deep into the video if you weren't enjoying it some, so I appreciate you being here. And thank you to so many of you that have texted me or called and just encouraged me to keep going. So now we're just going to have some snow come right like that, because then it looks like it's just a whole nother layer right here in front of us. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? And we just get to use that shadow of that other rock right there. And now we've got that. All right, let's step back real quick. Y'all, I'm digging what we got happening. I want a water's edge along here, and we are going to call that one done. Let's highlight these trees real quick. Touch of magic white. A little more blue. And we may put in some grassy things just to kind of break up this shoreline a little bit. Touch, 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 touch. Now this isn't random. It probably looks random. The result may even look random. That is not my intention. I'm just thinking branches and lighter, lighter, lighter as we get down towards the base where less light would be. And just touch, touch, touch. Just helps add depth, a little bit of highlight. And if you either go in 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4, that is kind of the rhythm I have in my head when I do it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that happens? And what do you think? Let's see what kind of little grassy things we can make along the water's edge here. Maybe they're this light blue color. Maybe they've got a little darker flavor, just to break up that edge. And then let's step back and see if we like that. I think we're gonna, because it just gives us a little more flavor right there. So let's go this way, and as this gets softer and softer in color value, that will be perfect because this is getting further and further away this way of just little guys down by the water. So just some kind of little grassy things. Sometimes you don't have to flick the wrist so hard. You can just kind of touch, bend these bristles up just a little bit, and they'll do these beautiful little grassy kind of things. I want just a little blue in there, a little white in there, a little highlight. Just kind of make it look like some snow creeping down here to the water. Don't forget, we're going to do some water line here in just a second. And that'll help us finish it off. So let's just get a little more snow along the banks there. Ooh, I like that. I like how that turned out right there. Excellent. We're going to cut in a water line. So I'm looking for my knife. Going to put some liquid white right here on the canvas. Just kind of stir it, make sure it's not too oily. Pull it out flat. Wipe off the excess. Go across kind of in a curvy motion, so I've got that right on top, and let's start where we think we'd be brightest with the water line, and just push like you're trying to go through the canvas. Didn't get enough paint. Let's do that again. Keep these pretty flat so your water doesn't look like it's running out of the picture. And even as we're coming around the corner, we can switch over and use the small edge of the knife to just cut this in. I typically do this a couple times just to get it the way I really want it to look down there. And sometimes it just takes a couple tries. It's also good to just let that magic white sit for a minute because it's such a good liquid paint. It will really absorb nicely into our canvas, and even coming around the corner, we just have to stop there. See, perfect. I'm reading what we got there. So let's get a little more. I want a little sharper line in this guy. You're not going to hurt this canvas, so get after it. Don't be shy. Let's come this way now. You can even make some little frozen things out here on a pond, a lake, a sinkhole. I don't really know what they'd have up there in Alaska. I don't know if they got sinkholes like we do here in Florida, but that's kind of the thought that crosses my mind every now and then. And just let it happen. Go over a point like that, fine. Just keep them pretty flat. You can always just kind of clean up your edge. The edge of the water's never going to be perfect. It will be flat. The water, still water, will be flat and level, but the edge of the land certainly won't be, or seldom will be. And so you can just sort of make it however it looks to you. Let's put a few little ripples out here just to kind of have a little something for the eye to feast on. And I'm going to tell you, we've got a done big old painting here. What do you guys think? I'm pretty pleased. Thanks again for hanging with us. Thanks for your positive feedback. We'll keep working. We'll keep getting better. We'll keep getting faster. And I hope you'll keep watching. If nothing else, I hope you enjoy just watching a cool painting. I hope you've got some belief you can do this too if you ever try to. If you're anywhere near New Smyrna Beach, I would highly encourage you to go see my friend Nick. And dear, dear teacher, I couldn't imagine how I'd still be struggling if it weren't for him. He's a fantastic teacher. So I did put a little red on the palette, got a little paint thinner. Let's sign this one and call it done. So holy smokes, we're right at an hour. Tell you the truth, I'm pretty proud of that. This is a lot of painting for me. And to do it in an hour, well, that's just good fun. So let's do our DW on there. We're going to call this show done. I will edit in the still photo of the finished product here. I don't know how well it's coming through as a whole thing. Looks actually pretty good on the monitor I've got for the camera. But thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. Happy painting.